cookie dough restock. And I don't know why I didn't do this last time, but one batch of some of my cookie recipes actually fit perfectly in these containers. Like the ones that have brown sugar, like this chocolate chip one doesn't, so I have to do it in like these containers because of the filling. But like Earl Grey or the tea ones, like the dry ingredients fit perfectly in this, so it's actually super helpful. So today I am, well, two of the recipes are recipe testing, and one, I mean, they're all kind of recipe testing actually. But anyway, today I am doing a cookie dough restock, and it's going to be for my freezer stash. I haven't figured out the wording of it yet. I'm not used to it, so it's kind of like a tongue twist. But basically, my cookie dough freezer stash restock is going to be a black tea lemon, kind of like it's inspired by the Hong Kong iced teas, which is like the honey black lemon tea, but I don't know if I can add honey in it yet, so not entirely sure. But I'm going to test that as a cookie, at least with black tea and honey, lemon zest. Sorry, not honey. Obviously, I still need practice. Black tea and lemon zest without the honey. In the future, I do want to test the honey one. The other one is a Hojicha, and the last one is chocolate chip. So I have a brown butter one, but I want to see if I could do a recipe without the browning of the butter because some people just don't have that time. Even though I really love it, I also sometimes feel like I don't have the time to brown the butter and then wait for the butter to brown. So this one is just a regular chocolate chip cookie. Okay, so let me just double check I labeled them right so I don't get it wrong. So I have my black tea lemon here, Hojicha here, and this is my chocolate chip. And I always recommend measuring out your ingredients first, so that way you don't get confused, especially if you're doing a bunch of different recipes at the same time. So I have my butter sticks, I have my tools and my eggs, and I have my mixing bowl. So I think I am going to start with chocolate chip, the black tea lemon, and then the Hojicha, just because the Hojicha is the darkest colored one, and I don't want it to affect, like if I, because I'm going to use the same bowl, I don't want to affect the residual, like the colors to, the residual dough to affect colors for anything else. So hello for everyone that's coming in now. I'm restocking my cookie dough freezer stash, and today I'm making Hojicha tea cookies, black tea lemon, inspired by the Hong Kong iced tea, the black lemon tea. And then the last one is a chocolate chip cookie dough. And I was saying I'm going to start with the chocolate chip. So this one has brown sugar, so I'm going to start with putting this in first. This is going to be a chocolate chip cookie dough. Ooh. So I'm going to put my brown sugar and vanilla extract into this. Highly recommend portioning out your ingredients beforehand just to make things less overwhelming and confusing. If you want to also bake some of my cookie recipes, I have some of them published on my blog at sparklecakery.com. I'm pretty sure I linked it in the captions, but I'm still learning how to like do the technical part, so I'm not entirely sure if it's like there. Sounds, I love your earrings. Thank you. I don't remember where I got them, but I just figured it's so cute. It even has a smiley face if you can see it. I want to like try to make my own too, but I feel like it might be hard. I'm not entirely sure. So this is my brown sugar, and I'm going to put, this is really soft butter, so it's really hot in New York City today. Normally, like in the wintertime, I would just melt it because it's so cold. But because it's so hot, I'm just going to use really soft, so the cookie dough doesn't end up becoming like too oily. Sometimes you have to adjust like techniques and like how soft you want the butter for your cookie dough to be depending on like the weather. And then I'm just gonna mix it together. I'm so bad at cooking and baking. Honestly, so the reason why I even got into like wanting to teach more baking stuff is because I hear that a lot, especially from my friends, and like just in general I hear that a lot. But I feel like if you just need to start with recipes that are like at your level, you know what I mean? I feel like people get overwhelmed like I know I get overwhelmed, and that's where I took the experience from, that if you start with recipes that's out of your comfort zone, it's gonna make you feel like, oh my God, I can't do this because it's just so overwhelming. But if you start with like baby steps and build up your baking confidence, like I feel like you could totally do it. Because like honestly, if I could do it, like other people totally can. And I'm also like from the opposite side, learning how to be a better writer for recipes. So that's why I'm starting with cookies, because I feel like it's a good introductory level of baking. And you can like start with, like, these cookies are meant to be, you just mix, scoop, and then bake. So that way there's no like, you don't really have to chill them. You can if you want, because I'm freezing these for later. But like you don't have to think too much about like, oh my God, like do I have to know some fancy techniques? Like no, literally just mix it, scoop it onto your tray, and then like bake it. And I feel like if you start with easy recipes, it just helps build up your confidence to like more difficult ones, especially if you are completely new or you just have like a busy schedule. So I definitely think you could do it. And you could try my recipes or just try like other recipes that are maybe even no bake. Could be a really good way of like building up your confidence in like the kitchen. Sorry, there's like a piece of brown sugar I'm trying to break up. Okay, and I'm gonna add my egg in. So yeah, I feel like people can definitely bake. Anyone can pretty much bake. You just have to build up your confidence in it. I do think that applies to a lot of things in life, because like no one's really born able to do everything anyway. Okay, let me put a towel underneath so my bowl stops like moving around. So far I have the really soft unsalted butter, brown sugar, light brown sugar. I have vanilla extract, pure vanilla extract. You can use imitation if that's what you have. And I put the egg inside. Now, I am going to take my dry mix. I haven't sifted it yet or mixed like the ingredients together, so I'm just gonna take this and get a whisk and then just mix it up a little bit first. This is just to make sure like the salt and the baking soda and the flour and stuff that I have in here is just more incorporated, so it's easier and more evenly mixed. Okay, that should be good. Then I'm just gonna dump it in. Okay, then I'm just gonna give it a little mixy mix. And, oops, I did not mean to turn off the camera. I was trying to click like this other button and then it was like way too close to the other. Like they should like separate the buttons a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna add chocolate chips to these. So I'm not gonna mix it like all the way. Gonna just make sure, if you also make cookie dough, just make sure you use your rubber spatula. Scrape along the sides of the bowl to get any flour or wet spots. Make sure you scrape underneath the bowl to get any wet spots or dry spots as well. Okay. Keep doing that, and then when I'm almost done mixing it, because I still see a few dry spots, I'm gonna just put in my semi-sweet chocolate chips and then fold it in. So that makes my chocolate chip cookie dough. Again, just make sure you scoop and scrape the sides of your bowl so that way you get any dry or wet spots. Okay. And I'm also going to scrape along the sides of my bowl like this to get any dry spots, flour spots, wet spots off my spatula. Okay, and it's almost done. Looks like this so far. Cookie dough. Okay, and then once I don't see any dry spots, wet spots, any uneven mixing after I scraped along the sides and at the bottom of the bowl, I'm gonna take my cookie scoop. I love using this one to portion out the cookie dough. This is about 1.5 ounces and I found it on Amazon. It's a yellow scoop. It's D20 if that matters, if you're looking for something like this. It just makes it easier to portion out the cookie sizes. Gonna put it on this cute blue tray. Take the cookie scoop and then scoop. So I'm actually testing this too because I was thinking earlier, like, I wanted to make a recipe that was like for people who didn't want to brown their butter. Like in case, like, who knows, like maybe you just, I don't know, don't want to like spend that time or you're just busy. So this is a chocolate chip cookie dough that doesn't have brown butter. I feel like I might need a little bit more flour, but I'm not entirely sure yet. So let me I think I'm just gonna bake it like this because I'm testing it anyway. So anyway, ice cream scoop, scoop, and then scrape alongside my bowl like this to get even cookie dough scoops. And then I'm just going to bloop onto my cookie tray. And this is, I feel like, a really important step to making sure that you get really even cookie dough balls, because if you don't like scoop and then scrape along sides of your bowl like this a few times, you might have pockets of air or like it doesn't reach all the way to the back of a cookie scoop, and then you'll end up having like uneven cookie dough balls, and then that results in unevenly baked cookies. So always make sure if you're using a cookie scoop to scoop, like scoop extra, and then scrape a few times and scoop back in along the side of your bowl. Okay, and then portion out the cookie dough balls. Okay, and I'm gonna do this with all of the cookie dough in this bowl. This is chocolate chip cookies. And then I also like to put a few more chocolate chips on top. And you can freeze it like that, or you can just, I mean, if you're baking it right away, you can just bake it like that too. Because then as it bakes, the chocolate chips on top will bake with it. It doesn't sink right in, so it's just like more of an aesthetic look. And that's totally optional. I'll show you after I scoop out the cookie doughs. Someone told me that like they look like ice cream scoops when you do this, and I totally see it. All right, and then as I get near the bottom of the bowl, I'm just gonna use my handy dandy rubber spatula and just scrape it all to one side. So that way it's easier for me to scoop with the ice cream scoop. Okie dokie. Back to the ice cream scoop now to finish scooping out my chocolate chip cookies, and then I'm going to I think I'm gonna do the black tea lemon cookies next, and then Hojicha cookies last. So this makes about 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So 9 cookies sounds about right. Ooh, bless you to me. Oh. I feel like my brain rattles when I have like a really big sneeze. Okay, so here is my chocolate chip cookie dough that I portioned out, and I'm gonna add more chocolate chips on top. And I just put like 4 or 5, really up to you. And I just put it right on top like this. That was 6, but that's who's counting. Ooh. I just put it like right at the top because when it bakes, it'll flatten out and the chocolate chips will spread anyway. But that's completely up to you. You don't have to do this. I just feel like it makes it really look like a chocolate chip cookie when you do that. You can also add it on top after you bake, but I realize that it's kind of time consuming doing that because then I have to like kind of place them on myself. So doing this, all I have to do is just like kind of press it into it on top like this, and then it just makes it easier for me because I don't really have to strategically place the chocolate chips. And let me show you what they look like on top. And chocolate chip cookie dough that are portioned out. I'm going to put this in the fridge for now because I'm going to prep the other dough to put on this tray. So let me put this in the fridge. And then on to the next cookie dough, which is black tea lemon. So I'm just going to use the same bowl. This one, yeah, okay. Let me just, I'm recipe testing this one still. So hopefully it comes out tasting the way I'm trying to imagine it tastes. I imagine this to be, like I'm trying to make this be a tea cookie with like subtle tea flavors with like lemony taste to it too. So hopefully that works out. I just use Lipton tea because that's what they do in a lot of the Hong Kong cafes. They just use Lipton tea. And to give it the lemon flavor, I zested in some lemon into the sugar and kind of like rubbed it in for the oils to release into the sugars. Will that be a necessary step? I don't really think so. But I just feel like it helps release more of the lemon flavors. Now I'm just going to mix the dry ingredients so everything gets more mixed together because I kind of just dumped it into the container when I was portioning them out. Because this is a pretty easy step. You have to mix it anyway, so. I can smell the lemon and kind of the tea too. Hopefully when it bakes, it will release more of the tea-like flavors. And for those of you that are coming in, I am restocking my cookie dough freezer stash. And today I am making black tea lemon cookies inspired by the Hong Kong like black tea lemon, iced black lemon tea. And I just finished making the chocolate chip cookie dough. And the last one I'm going to be making today is the Hojicha tea cookie. And now I'm just mixing the dough for this one. I'm going to portion it out. So I have my soft, super soft butter. And I think I'm just going to dump in my egg too for this one, because everything is just going to get mixed together. And just give it a little mixy mix. Then I can, oop, you did not see that. There's just a little bit that got out. Okay, just gonna mix it. And then make sure I get the sides of the bowl, the underside of the bowl, inside the bowl, sorry. Scrape my spatula a bit. Now that I'm mixing this, I do kind of feel like I do have to edit the chocolate chip recipe a little bit. Again, like I'm recipe testing these, so that's also why. But we will see. It smells so good. Okay, so again, I gotta make sure I scrape my spatula to make sure I get any wet or dry spots. Then I'm gonna make sure I scrape the sides of my bowl to get dry spots, wet spots. Scrape the underside of my bowl. Because there's still a lot of dry spots. And I think this should technically also make me about 8 to 9 cookies as well. And I'll show you how I portion them out for those that are coming in just now. I'm restocking my cookie dough freezer stash. And this is a black tea lemon cookie inspired by the Hong Kong iced black tea lemon. Okay, and I'm almost done giving it a little mix. Okay, looks good. Just gonna scrape out my spatula one more time. Try to push the cookie dough off to one side so it's easier for me to scoop. I'm gonna get my tray. So this was my chocolate chip cookie dough that I just did before. My allergy is like acting up now suddenly. Quick water break. Make sure to hydrate. And now I'm gonna take cookie dough scoop and then scoop and scrape along the side of the bowl to make sure I get even ice cream scoops of cookie dough. And then just portion it right out onto the tray. So scoop and scrape along the sides of the bowl. And this is a 1.5, about 1.5 ounce cookie dough scoop, a D20, and it's a yellow color if that matters. I'm not sure about this part. It used to matter where I worked in the bakery, but nowadays I'm not entirely sure. I just know that sometimes the numbers can matter, but I think more about looking at the size of the scoop, like the portion size of it. And then just gonna scoop and scrape. Okay, I'm just gonna clean it up a little so you can see it better. Cookie dough, and then scoop it onto the side. And then if you don't have a cookie dough, like you don't have a ice cream scoop, sorry. If you don't have an ice cream scoop, technically you can use spoons as well. And then you just use the spoon, like portion them out. Just make sure you try to like measure out as evenly as possible so when you bake it, it's even. And then if you want it to bake more circular, just roll it into dough balls and then bake it like that. So you don't have to have an ice cream scoop. I just like to use this because it makes it more even, like faster. So I have 2, 4, 6, 7 right now. Okay, that's 8. I feel like my headband is starting to slip forward. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my spatula and then move the residual cookie dough to one side so it's easier for me to scoop the last bit. Okay, I think this should actually give me exactly, let me see. Okay, perfect. I still have a little bit left over, but that's totally fine. Okay, that's my last scoop. I have 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So about, I would say about 8 to 9 again. That's kind of what I'm aiming for these recipes, so that way they're more small batch. And you don't have to have so many cookies at once. Although if you're like me and you like to have a cookie dough freezer stash, like you can always double the recipe, triple or whatever, and then just store them in your freezer to bake whenever you want. For example, last night I really wanted a red velvet cookie, so I pulled the red velvet cookie dough from the freezer, baked it, and then I ate it. Okay. And this is what I have so far. Have chocolate chip cookie dough, and this is the black tea lemon cookie dough. And then now I'm gonna put this back into the fridge to chill a little bit, and then I will work on the last cookie dough. Okay, alrighty. Okay, last one. It feels like it's slipping on my head for some reason. Okay, last one is Hojicha tea. Okay, gonna take this. These are the dry ingredients for the Hojicha tea cookies. And again, I'm just going to make sure that I sift like with my whisk and just mix all the ingredients together so that way the salt, the flour, the tea powder, the leavening agents are mixed together so it bakes evenly. You can do this while it's in the container if you have enough space, but I was just using a smaller container because I was going to do it in the bowl anyway. Then here we go with my egg. And the really soft butter. feel like you could probably, so in the wintertime I usually do melted butter, so it's easier to mix, and because the butter will kind of start to solidify because of how cold it is in my kitchen. But in the summertime I realized that if I use melted butter, even though it's like fully cooled, the dough gets a little bit oily, but I think it's because the kitchen is like hot. So recently when I make the cookie dough, I've been using like just really soft butter, not melted, but I kind of want to try melted next time just to see if it's like easier and still works. Then I'm just going to give it a little mixy mix now. And again, making sure that I scrape the sides of my bowl to make sure I get all the ingredients mixed evenly. Scrape the bottom of my bowl. Scrape my spatula against the bowl as well to get off any of the butter or egg and flour so everything is mixed evenly. Again, the cookie recipes I'm starting out with writing on my blog is mostly a mix, scoop, and bake, so that way it's easier for me to like write, and it's also easier for people who are new to it to bake, to build up baking confidence, because I want to make my recipes like fun and approachable, and then eventually work my way up to more complicated recipes. And by that time, hopefully like readers like you will also have more confidence in baking to get to that point as well. Okay, gonna make sure I scrape the bottom and the sides of my bowl again. Get all dry spots and wet spots. Okay, I'm gonna scrape my spatula again. Okay, and a few more times along the side and the bottom of my bowl. Okay, looks like I'm almost done. Alrighty. Scrape my spatula and then move the cookie dough all the way to one side so it's easier for me to portion out. And then I'm gonna get my cookie tray. Here's what I have so far: chocolate chip, black tea, lemon, and now I'm gonna portion out the Hojicha. Okay, this one I'm gonna wipe a little bit because I have the residual, like the black tea lemon, but I don't really want it to mix with the Hojicha too much, so I'm just gonna use a paper towel and like wipe my scoop real quick. Okay, and now portioning out my last cookie dough for the night. Okay, scoop and scrape along the side of my bowl. Let me turn it around actually, just so you can see it better. Okay. So scoop and scrape along the bowl of the cookie scoop, so that way it's as even as possible. I touched the other cookie dough by accident. They really do look like scoops of ice cream when I portion them out like this. One, two, three, four, five, six. Seven. 8. 9. Oh, these look fantastic. Thank you. I am making, this one is Hojicha tea cookies. So they're roasted green tea cookies. And I'm finishing out my last scoop actually. And earlier I made chocolate chip, and this is black tea lemon. So they're all recipes I'm still kind of like testing to put on my blog. And that's why I figured today was a good day to do a live. And I'm really excited about these. I feel like it's so satisfying to do like different flavors, and when I portion them out like this, it just looks so fun because it's like different colors and different cookie scoops. Also, someone was telling me before that it looks like ice cream like scoops, so I was like, you know what, I see that. Why it looks like poop? You know what? It's because it's like roasted green tea, so it has a darker color. It's kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just roasted tea. So that's why the color, but I promise you it looks a lot, like, it tastes a lot better than how it looks like right now. But to be honest, I think it's kind of cute too, because if you change your perspective, it looks more like chocolate. So have a little positivity in your life. Okay, and then I'm gonna scoop the last scoop. Okay, I hope it fits the last scoop. I feel like it should. Oh yeah. Yes, it does. Sometimes depending on like what the flavor is, it might not fully reach 9 scoops, so that's why I'll say like it's about like 8 to 9 scoops of cookie dough. But like, look how fun it looks so far. And my last scoop, let me just see if I can get as much of cookie dough off this. And this is how it looks here. Ah, it's a little stuck. Okay. So that is all my cookie dough that I've scooped out. Let me show you everything on the tray. So you see, ooh, I don't want to suddenly drop it all. So chocolate chip, black tea lemon, and then hojicha, which is basically roasted green tea. And they all smell really good. It's like, I smell the citrusy tea like flavors already. And I might bake some tonight. I'm not entirely sure to test. To be honest, the sun is already setting, so I probably won't. But I will let these chill first and then move them into a separate container. And another day, I'll show you like what container I've been using to freeze these. I use these like metal ones. And I don't know. I kind of want to try them, like baking some of them, just because I want to see how they bake like without chilling, because that was the point of the recipes, is like no chill cookie dough recipes. And then you can chill them if you want, or freeze them is also my ultimate goal, because then I'll have and then a supply of cookie dough freezer stash. But for now, I think, you know what, I think I will bake them later, but I won't bake them live because I do think it's gonna take a little bit of time because I have to preheat the oven because I didn't already do that. But for now, at least you can see what the cookie doughs look like. And thank you for joining my live today. I will post pictures on my YouTube, I don't know what to call it, the feed, so you can see what they look like when they're, my hair, when they're baked. And yeah, I think I'll try to go back to like weekly lives. I don't know if I'll continue doing like always Sundays. It might be random, but just keep an eye out for it. And it's just based on like whatever my schedule can handle. But if you want to bake the cookies yourself, you can find them on my blog at sparklecakery.com. This month is cookie recipes. Next month I'm going to work on no bake recipes because it's hot in New York City right now. So thank you for coming and see you next time. Bye!